You have been taught your entire life that the noblest thing you can be is a good person. To be kind, to be humble, to be compassionate. You have been told that this is the path to a meaningful life. Friedrich Nietzsche, the most dangerous philosopher who ever lived, would tell you that this is the most sophisticated lie ever crafted. He would tell you that your goodness is not a virtue, it is a cage, and it is keeping you weak, resentful, and sick. Think about the moments of your own weakness, the times you failed to speak your truth because you didn't want to make waves, the times you suppressed your own ambition because it felt selfish, the times you felt a quiet, burning resentment towards the success of others, and then felt guilty for feeling it. You have a constant, low-grade war raging inside you, a war between what you truly want and what you have been told you should want. You feel this inner conflict, this sense of being held back by an invisible force, and you blame yourself. You think you are not good enough, not disciplined enough. But what if the problem is not your lack of discipline? What if the problem is the very definition of good that you have swallowed without question? Nietzsche dedicated his life to a single, terrifying task, a revaluation of all values. He took a scalpel to the sacred heart of Western morality, and what he found was not a divine truth. He found a poison, a 2,000-year-old psychological virus designed to do one thing: to make the strong weak and to keep the weak in control. Today, we are going to expose this virus. This is not a guide to becoming evil. This is a guide to understanding what good and evil truly are. They are not truths. They are weapons. And for your entire life, you have been standing on the wrong side of the battlefield. To understand Nietzsche's radical demolition of morality, we must first travel back in time. We must understand that our concepts of good and evil did not fall from the sky. They were invented. They were engineered. And they were engineered with a specific purpose. Nietzsche, in his masterpiece on the genealogy of morality, acts as a psychological archaeologist. He digs beneath the foundations of our values to uncover their dirty, bloody origins. He identified two fundamental, opposing systems of morality that have been at war for thousands of years. Understanding this war is the key to your own liberation. The first system is master morality. This was the original natural morality of the ancient world, of the noble warriors, the Greek heroes, the Roman aristocrats. In this system, good was a synonym for everything that was strong, noble, powerful, and life-affirming. To be strong was good. To be courageous was good. To have a powerful will, to dominate, to create, to excel. This was the definition of virtue. Bad, in this system, was simply everything that was weak, common, pathetic, and fearful. The bad was the slave, the sick, the deformed. It was a judgment of aesthetics, not of sin. The master does not hate the weak. He simply despises them, in the same way an eagle despises a sheep. It is a morality born from a powerful, overflowing yes to life in all its brutal, beautiful glory. The master creates his own values. His goodness radiates outward from his own strength and abundance. But then, something extraordinary happened. A psychological event that, for Nietzsche, was the most ingenious and poisonous act of revenge in human history. The slaves, the weak, the oppressed. They could not defeat the masters on the physical battlefield, so they staged a rebellion on the psychological battlefield. They performed what Nietzsche called the transvaluation of values, a slave revolt in morality. Unable to achieve the strength of the masters, they began to resent it. This resentment, which Nietzsche called resentment, is a toxic, impotent hatred that festers in the darkness. And from this poisoned wellspring of resentment, a new morality was born: slave morality. This new morality took everything the masters called good and rebranded it as evil. Strength became evil. Pride became evil. Wealth became evil. A powerful will became evil. And then, in an act of genius, they took everything that was a consequence of their own weakness, and they rebranded it as good. Weakness became humility. Submission became obedience. The inability to take revenge became forgiveness. Pity, the feeling a master has for a lesser being, became the highest virtue. The slave morality does not say yes to life. It says no to everything that is different from itself. It is a morality born from fear, from hatred, and from a deep, unconscious desire to bring the strong down to its own level. And what was the vehicle for this psychological virus? For Nietzsche, it was primarily the Judeo-Christian tradition. He saw Christianity as the ultimate expression of slave morality, a religion that glorifies the meek, the poor, the suffering, a religion that promises that the last shall be first in a fictional afterlife, as a way to make their miserable existence in this life bearable. It taught humanity to be ashamed of its instincts, to see its desires as sinful, to hate the body, to hate this world in favor of an imaginary next one. It was, for Nietzsche, a great crime against life itself. I call Christianity the one great curse, the one great intrinsic depravity. I call it the one immortal blemish upon the human race. Friedrich Nietzsche, the Antichrist. This is the uncomfortable truth. The good and evil, you were taught, are not divine commands. They are the fossilized weapons of an ancient psychological war. And you, the modern man, have inherited the value system of the slave. This is why you feel guilty for your ambition. This is why you suppress your own power. This is why you feel a strange moral obligation to put the needs of others before your own. You have been infected with a morality that is fundamentally anti-life. A morality that serves the herd, not the individual. A morality designed to keep you small, tame, and manageable. It is a psychological cage. It is comfortable. It is safe. And it is slowly killing your soul. So you see the prison, a moral code you did not choose, but which has shaped your every thought, your every desire, your every feeling of guilt. This is the diagnosis. But Nietzsche was not just a diagnostician. He was a prophet of a new kind of human, a human who could live beyond good and evil. This is not a call for chaos. It is not an invitation to become a cruel, selfish monster. That is a childish misinterpretation of his work. The journey beyond good and evil is the most difficult and demanding spiritual path a person can take. It is the path of the Bermensch, the overman. It is the path of becoming a creator of new values. This journey requires 3 radical, terrifying acts of self-overcoming. The first act is what Nietzsche famously called the death of God. This is not a celebratory declaration of atheism. It is a terrifying diagnosis of the state of the modern world. For Nietzsche, God represented the foundation of all Western meaning, truth, and morality. The belief in a divine order gave our lives a script, a purpose, a sense of absolute right and wrong. But Nietzsche saw that, in the hearts of modern men, this belief had died. Science, reason, and enlightenment had killed it, and we had not yet faced the consequences. The death of God means the loss of fixed truth. No higher moral law, no script for our lives. What comes instead is nihilism, the harsh thought that we are alone in a cold and empty world. There is no big plan, no judge in the sky, no final prize. Only the void, the desert. Most people, when they see even a part of this desert, turn away in fear. They rush back to old beliefs or build new ones. Politics, shopping, ideology, the crowd. They look for another voice, another God, to tell them what to do. For Nietzsche, the death of God was no loss. It was a chance unlike any before, a time when people could finally grow up, no more playing children before a father in the sky. Instead, we could become makers. The one who dares to face the desert, who looks into the empty abyss without fear, is the one who is truly free. Free to give life its own meaning. Free to set his own rules. Free to be his own God. But this is only the first step, and it is the hardest. You must let go of every easy belief you are handed. You must be ready to stand fully alone. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into you. Friedrich Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil. The second act is the discovery of the only tool you have to build in that desert. Nietzsche called it the will to power. Again, this is a deeply misunderstood concept. It is not about the crude, brutish desire to dominate others. That is a symptom of a weak will to power. The true will to power is the fundamental, creative, life-affirming force that drives all existence. It is the tree's will to grow towards the sun. It is the artist's will to impose form on chaos. It is the philosopher's will to seek truth. And it is the individual's will to overcome his own limitations, to grow, to expand, to become more than he is. For the man who has faced the death of God, the will to power becomes his new compass. He no longer asks, what is good or evil, according to some ancient text? He asks a new, more powerful question. What action will enhance my feeling of power, my will to grow, my ability to overcome? This is the new morality. That which comes from a place of strength, abundance, and a yes to life is good. That which comes from a place of weakness, resentment, and a no to life is bad. This means you must become a physician of your own soul. You must constantly diagnose your own motives. Am I acting out of strength or out of fear? Am I creating or am I reacting? Am I affirming life or am I seeking revenge on it? This is a brutal internal discipline. It requires you to wage war on the slave morality within yourself. You must identify every belief you hold that is rooted in resentment. The belief that the successful are lucky or evil. The belief that your own suffering makes you noble. the belief that humility is a virtue, when in fact it is often just a mask for your fear of taking up space in the world. You must take the hammer of your will and shatter these life-denying values. You are not here to be humble. You are here to grow. You are not here to be pitied. You are here to overcome. This is the great, difficult work of self-creation. The third and final act is the ultimate affirmation of life. Nietzsche called it amor fati, the love of one's fate. This is not passive resignation. It is an active, joyful, and even defiant embrace of everything that happens. Not just the good, but the bad, the pain, the suffering, the loss. The man who achieves amor fati does not wish for his life to be any different. He looks at his entire existence with all its scars and all its beauty, and he says yes, again. Why is this so powerful? Because the man who can truly love his fate is a man who cannot be broken. Most people's happiness is conditional. I will be happy if ... quotes. But life will always find a way to break your conditions. The Stoics understood this. They taught us to accept fate with grim resilience. But Nietzsche goes a step further. He doesn't just accept it. He loves it. He sees every obstacle not as a roadblock, but as a necessary part of its journey. Every enemy who challenged him made him stronger. Every heartbreak that broke him open made him deeper. Every failure that humbled him made him wiser. He understands that the monster is part of the myth. The dragon is necessary for the hero to be born. To practice amor fati is to live in a state of constant, joyful gratitude for the brutal, beautiful chaos of existence. It is to understand that the universe is not for you or against you. It just is. And your job is not to judge it or to wish it were different. Your job is to dance with it, to use every element, both light and dark, as a raw material for the creation of your own beautiful, terrible, and ultimately meaningful life. This is the final liberation. The man who can say yes to everything is the man who has truly gone beyond good and evil. He is no longer a judge. He has become a creator. He has become, in Nietzsche's terms, an artist of his own life. So you see the forbidden's path, the death of the old gods, which creates the desert of freedom, the will to power, which is the tool you use to build in that desert, and amor fati, the divine dance of accepting and loving everything that is. This is Nietzsche's great, terrifying, and beautiful vision for humanity. Good and evil are not cosmic truths. They are perspectives. They are valuations created by different kinds of people to serve different kinds of needs. The slave morality you're taught is not wrong in some absolute sense. It is simply a perspective born of weakness, fear, and resentment. It is a survival strategy for the herd. But you are not the herd. The feeling of guilt and shame you carry is not a sign of your sinfulness. It is the sign of a fundamental conflict between your own noble, life-affirming nature and the life-denying values of the culture you were born into. You are an eagle that has been raised in a chicken coop, and you have spent your whole life trying to be a good chicken. So how do you begin to shed this skin? How do you start the journey of becoming a creator of your own values? This is not an intellectual exercise. It is a daily, practical war. First, Become a genealogist of your own morality. Take one virtue you hold sacred. For example, humility. For 1 week, observe it in yourself. When you act humbly, ask yourself with brutal honesty, am I acting from a place of genuine strength and self-confidence? Or am I acting from a place of fear? Fear of being seen as arrogant? Fear of taking up space? This is the beginning of the revaluation. You are not destroying humility. You are examining its roots. And you may discover that what you called humility was actually just a beautiful name for your own fear. Second, practice a daily act of holy selfishness. The slave morality has taught you that selfishness is the ultimate evil. You must reprogram this. Every day for the next month, perform one small, conscious act that serves only your own growth, your own joy, your own power. Read a chapter of a difficult book instead of watching the show your partner wants to watch. Say no to a request that drains you without giving a long apology. Spend an hour working on your own secret project instead of doing what is productive. You are teaching your nervous system in small doses that your own life, your own will, is a sacred priority. Third, find your yes. The journey beyond good and evil is not just a no to the old values. It must be a powerful yes to new ones. What in your life makes you feel stronger, more alive, more powerful? Is it creating art? Is it building a business? Is it intense physical training? Is it deep, philosophical conversation? Identify these life-affirming activities. These are the sources of your new values. Your new good is whatever makes your will to power grow. Your new bad is whatever makes it shrink. This is your new compass. It is simple, it is honest, and it is yours alone. You have been given the hammer. You now see that the moral cage you have been living in is not a divine creation. It is a human creation, a psychological weapon forged in the fires of ancient resentment. And what was made by man can be destroyed by man. What you do with this knowledge will define the rest of your life. You can retreat back into the comfortable prison. You can continue to be a good person, praised by the herd, but quietly despised by your own unlived soul. Or you can begin the great, terrifying, and glorious work of becoming yourself. You can accept the challenge of the Mensch, not to rule over others, but to rule over yourself so completely that your very existence becomes a new law, a new value, a new star in the sky. Nietzsche's philosophy is not a path to happiness. It is a path to greatness. And greatness is always forged in the crucible of suffering, of solitude, of self-overcoming. The choice is yours. Comfort or creation, the herd or the heavens. If this message has ignited a fire in your soul, if you are ready to stop being a creature and start being a creator, then make your declaration. Join the men and women who are choosing to live beyond good and evil. Go to the comments and declare your new allegiance. Write, I am my own law. It is a declaration of your spiritual sovereignty, a commitment to the most dangerous and beautiful journey of all. Subscribe to the Thinker's Codex. The revaluation has begun.